What is up, gang? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And today we have got to get into this hot meme action. We're going to cover a few memes here, mainly Myro and Rocky, and talk about what to do when you miss a run like I did. I missed both of these runs, and I'm going to describe to you what my trades were and what I'm going to do next as far as how to handle missing runs and the strategy to still make some gains, because it's not all a lost cause. But first of all, of course, let me remind you that this is not financial advice. Okay, if you're a rookie or you're just floating in here and you have not been watching my videos, don't leave any stupid comments. I'll just block and delete you. This is for the Crypto Pro gang, okay? Just my gang.
Yay!
And we're going to break this stuff down and make us some money. All right, so starting out with Myro. Myro went nuts. And if you'll remember, I was talking about picking up another bag after I've bought, sold, 4 different times, made a little bit of money, and then we dipped down into this area kind of in the middle of zone 2. And while we were floating around down in here, we were thinking that we would test the bottom of zone 2, which happened on this big wicked wick right here, going right down to 6.5 cents. And we were thinking we were headed down to the first zone, down here in zone number 1, which would bring us down to like a price of around anywhere from 4 cents down to possibly 2.3 cents. But guess what happened? It rallied and it broke the top of zone 2. It shot up, it came back down, and look what happened right there. We tested zone 2 as support. Let's make that green. So as soon as it touched down, we had a little bit of a wick below it on the 1-day chart, but just like magic, price bounced up when it hit the top of zone 2 as support, and then we went on a run. It's amazing how these coins follow these zones and these support and resistance levels. It makes it really easy to read this stuff. And this is a teaching point, okay? So we shot on up all the way back up to zone 1. And by gosh, it hit the top of the zone, went above 16 cents. It actually closed a candle above zone 1. And now we correct, we pop back up, and now we're in the midst of another red candle. So what can happen whenever you're following these cycles where we've got these bottoms that keep occurring like this? We have 3 bottoms here as we were sinking down to test the base of zone 2. And then notice how we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 stochastic peaks up here while we go on this massive run all the way to 16 cents. So this can happen. You can have a bullish move where your oscillator is telling you something. It's giving you clues. And the clues that it was trying to tell us was that whenever we reversed, here's a bottom of this reversal trend, it went back up and then it made a higher double little bottom here of the stochastic on the next 2 peaks. And now here's the 4th peak. So what's going to happen? Are we going to reverse and continue up? Or are we going to have a full stochastic cycle down? Well, we're going to have to determine that. So I was going to buy in at 5 cents, and I could have done a triple, and I missed it. It would have been nice to have a 3x. I would have put in probably somewhere around maybe $300-400, not playing with too much here, taking big chances. But I could have come out of this with $1,200 because I probably would have exited as soon as we popped up to the top of zone 1. That would have been good enough for me. So I missed the whole run. You missed the run? Well, I tell you what, if you're like me and you missed this run, here's what we do. We deploy patience. We have to wait, because my number 1 rule is you don't chase these runs up. You wait and you buy when the stochastic is at the bottom. And if it doesn't come back down, well, I'm not going to take the chance. Now, you can chase runs, and that's how people get stranded. Because when we back it up and look at the last monumental run, when we had Myro peaking out at 25 cents, touched on 26 cents, a lot of you folks decided that it was a great time to buy, and you bought up here at these peaks when the stochastic was up here, okay? Instead of buying when the stochastic was at the bottom. What happened? You got stranded. Now you had to wait and wait and wait for this to come all the way down, and it's still nowhere near back to that peak. And you're going to have to wait for a full cycle back up on the next chart that we'll show before you can even get back to break even. But if you buy on the stochastic bottoms, you don't get left hanging. It's safest to make your purchases down here when everybody is saying it's going to fail. It's going down to 2 cents. It's going to 1 cent. When all hope is lost, you do the opposite. And it's hard to do that because you're going to have to fight your emotions. The main one is fear down here. You have to know how to hit that purchase button during a time of fear. So let's zip up to the 1-day chart and see if we can formulate a strategy of when we could pull off another trade with Myro. I'll tell you what would have to happen for me to jump back in. As this stochastic right now is still rising, okay, we got this strong move up. We're not even in the oversold zone. We need to pop our head up here and round off and hope that it just doesn't stay and give us a triple like it did here on the monumental run. I'm hoping that we don't get out of zone 3 up here and that we can come back down and test zone 2. If we don't, well, I'm going to have to wait another month or so until Bitcoin decides to take a break and until the alts cool off. It's not time for me to buy. So what I am going to look for is resistance at the top of zone 3 and then falling out of zone 3 and coming all the way back to zone 2 until we get to these big fat volume nodes right here. Now, if we get so lucky, I could pull up, I could buy here in this strike zone and then wait until it dips down and then do a DCA and buy again here at the point of control price, which just happens to be 2.7 cents. But, you know, right now I can't see that happening. Can it happen? Yes, it can. Because, you know, at some point or another, this thing is going to give up 99% of the gains. When we go through the whole bull market, they come back down to earth. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to deploy patience and wait for this stochastic cycle to complete and come down here to the oversold zone below the 20 line. And then that's when I am going to pull the trigger and ride the sucker again. Now, as far as the MACD, I'm going to hope that we're done. We're still printing solid green on the histogram, but I'm going to hope for a rollover and a wave down that will coincide with the stochastic at this low point here. And then I'm going to jump on and ride it for the next swing up. All right, now let's clear this out. So we see where I want to buy. I want to buy right here. I'm going to hope that these volume nodes are strong enough that people take profits here and pull the price back down. Now, let's see if we can get anything on the 1-week chart, and we might not be able to. The 1-week chart looks ridiculous. Good grief. So we're just jumping right back up. These are my previous price points where first purchase was 10 cents, then 5 cents, and then I bought again somewhere down here, sold again. I did 4 trades. Swing trading, made a few gains, and I'm satisfied that I am ahead. So right here, we notice that the biggest volume node is down here at 7 cents. So I'm going to look to buy at 7 cents. And then if we fail that, of course, here's the biggest volume node at 2.7. It is possible that we can form an ascending base where it looks something like this. And so when we connect the dots of these bases, we can kind of say maybe there's a possibility that we round off, we come back down, check in at the big volume node there, and then it bounces up, and then we test the all-time high. But that might take a while. It could be a month or so, but then again, we could soar on up and break that all-time high right now, but at some point it's got to come back down. So that is Myro. That's my strategy there. Now let's go to Rocky, because there's an important lesson to be learned about Rocky. All right. I had at first bought Rocky at 1.3 cents, and then I had to wait because I bought at the wrong time. I had to deploy patience. I waited. I bought a second time at 0.0027 right here, and then it kept going down. I had to wait. There was a bottom of 0.0013, and I could not get any orders to fill. And it came up. I thought that's the end of it. But it came back and hit it again. 0.0013 right there. I didn't get a fill order. I had to wait again. And then right here on the 22nd of February, I was able to fill my biggest order at 0.0015. And then I sold because I thought I'm at an overall profit. I was $203 in. I sold for like $260, somewhere around there. And I took profits before it hit 4 cents. I think I sold right here. Okay. And so then when it corrected, I felt good. And I said, I'm going to wait until it comes down to 0.003 and buy again. And as you can see, it decided to go on this tear all the way up to 7 cents. And boy, was I mad about that. But here's the point that I want to make. We were talking in the group, and I was looking at some other boards and listening what people were saying when we were down here at the bottom. And guess what people were saying while we were down here? Rocky is done for. There's no trading going on. The order book is stagnant. It's dead. This is the end. It has lost all the wind in the sail. And so when everyone had given up, I purchased at 0.0015, and it was hard because I was fearful, and I thought there's a 95% chance that I'm going to give away all of my money. But the good thing is I bought at the high point of fear, and then I sold into this run. So I really can't complain because you never know how high these things are going to go. Now on this 4-hour chart, we see a very strong move. We're at 7 cents, and we're still pushing higher because look at this, the fast line. Blue is still above the orange line, the slow oscillator, but we are in oversold zone, okay? We're above that 80 line. We have dipped up above that 80 line twice. We're flying high on the oscillators with the MACD, so it looks like right now it could push on up to 8 cents. But at some point, it's going to have to correct. So where am I going to buy back in? Well, we'll have to flip here to the one-day chart and see. So on this one-day chart, this just looks absolutely absurd. But notice one thing. It does look like the stochastic is curling over, and we see that the fast line is approaching the slow line. We see the oscillators on the MACD, which lags, where the blue line is actually starting to take off. It's lifting off. So it's contrary to this little indication here. But since this one lags this one, if we get a cross over here, then we're going to see the oscillators still move up. And then let's see, we need an arrow there. They're still going to move up, and they should round off. All right, so I will be looking to jump back in this if hopefully after we hit this volume node right here, somewhere around 8 or 9 cents, I'm going to hope that it comes back down for a correction into this volume node somewhere around 3 to 4 cents. So this is going to be my new strike zone somewhere in here. And I'm thinking there's a good chance that we might see support at the top of this second zone right here. The top of this zone here could be support where we bounce off and come up again if it goes that low. But I could start doing the DCA game at 0.004 at the top of this big fat node. So that's how I'm going to play Rocky. And I'm going to hope that Rocky settles down and that people lose hope and get disgusted with it and say that it's dead. And as soon as people start to say it's dead, it's a rogue pull and all that other ridiculous stuff, that's when I'm going to pull the trigger and buy. All right. One thing I like about Myro and Rocky is I can buy them on centralized exchanges, and I don't have to fool with swaps. I don't have to buy Solana. It's not my cup of tea to buy on swaps if it's not MetaMask on the Polygon network, where I can swap USDT for certain projects that are on the Polygon network where there is available liquidity. If you don't have liquidity, that means you can put in an order to buy or an order to sell, and it's not going to fill because there's nobody on the other side that will take your trade. So once we start sailing down, I'll probably have to buy a tick above the offer price to get the order to fill. And then I'll wait for this thing to run up again. So Rocky, even though it doesn't have the volume and the market cap of Myro, it moves. The number one thing about projects like this and these hot Solana memes, the volatility. Look at these movements. consolidation, explosive movement up. That's what I like to see instead of side banding, boring movement for months on end. I'm looking for the ones that like to jump and move around. Now, I'm going to show you another one that I've got my eyes on. But first, let's look at Grock. I missed on Grock. Why? I had this strike zone of where I was going to buy at 0.0022. But notice it touched at the top of this strike zone box and it was support. So it sailed off here. I was hoping it would come back down, but it consolidated, it moved up, and it looks like it's moving up again and could peak out at this top node at 1.2 cents. I'm going to wait again because I don't buy on stochastic peaks. It's easy. This is where you don't buy. This is where you do buy. This is where you purchase your tokens, okay? I'm not buying here and I'm not buying here. Now, we have a bullish cross, so we're going to look for this to continue to go up a little bit. And then once it rounds off, I'm going to start looking for it. I need an arrow. Why don't I have an arrow? There we go. I'm going to look for this to round off and do a full cycle down. And then the next time, once we're down here below the 20 line, I don't care what the price is, I'm going to buy because we're in a bull market, folks. This is it. And I don't know if we're going to have major corrections anymore. I don't know if Bitcoin is going to have a big dip before it tears into the all-out bull run. It might, but based on the activity that we've seen up until now, we're not getting any indication that it could happen. Without that massive correction on Bitcoin, we might not have as high of a market cycle peak that we would have if there was a shakeout. Not to say that there won't be a shakeout. If there is, hey, I'm going to be a happy man because I look for blood in the streets. I look for days where everything is red on the board, and that's where I get excited and start to make my game plan for when I'm going to purchase. All right, the last one I want to talk about is SAMO. Look at SAMO. This one is going to be ready for me. All right, I've been watching SAMO since it was at 0.5 cent. It went on this run where here we peaked out all the way at 3 cents. And I've been waiting ever since. We've had this long consolidation move. I should have got in at a penny, but right now I could start to buy. 1.3 cents is not bad. However, what do we see? We see a red candle forming at this volume node where we're going to fall away from that. And we could be looking for these lower nodes at 1 cent or this big one that is sticking out at 0.007. Now, the other thing I'm going to wait for is this stochastic to play out. I want this to cross over. It's about to cross, and I want this to drop all the way down into the 20 zone. I want this MACD oscillator to round off, come back down below the 0 line, print me some red bars on the histogram like that, and then I'm ready to strike. And it could be somewhere around this 200 EMA baseline right here. So realistically, this could be the support. We could correct right down here to the 200 EMA and then make our next move up. So 1 cent is where I'm going to start to play the game. All right, so that's all of the Solana tokens that I want to mention. We're going to get into Honk, maybe Win, look at Cock, maybe Bonk. Then there's a Snek that is a Cardano meme. And we'll get into those on another video. But what is your favorite meme coin? List it below in the comments. I want to know about it. And then tell me if you agree that meme coins are a great way to learn how to swing trade. Let me know if you agree that meme coins make an easy chart read. We can't predict it 100%, but boy, with these nice movements and corrections and consolidations, it's very easy to find yourself a good strike zone where you can buy and set yourself up to sell into the next rip. So post in the comments and let me know what your favorite is. I want to hear about it. That is all I've got for this particular video, but I would love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Pro channel. Hanging with me, tick the bell notification so you know when I'm doing my next video, because I might give you some alerts from the cell phone, from the mobile. I can do videos real quick from this thing while I'm working and let you know whenever something is about to fall into my strike zone, and I'll keep you posted. So with that, I think we're done here. Also, let me know if you learned something from my technical analysis basics. This is Carlton, and I am out.